もし今私を撃てと言ったら、君はその通りにできるか
？Inside the car. Just before dawn, a black car drives through the streets shrouded in the morning fog, toward a hazy city in the distance. Although you have been in the car for an entire day and night, you do not feel sleepy at all. You reach out from the front passenger seat to wipe away the cold condensation on the car window. As the water droplets fall, Artem's reflection appears in the glass. He is holding on to the steering wheel as he glances at you.
座り心地が悪いか。亀市に着くまでまだ1時間ある。もう少し寝ておくといい。
Would you be able to sleep on the first day of a mission? The Jiaming city that Artem mentioned is a large city that has seen a rapid development in recent years. It has attracted countless people to move there in hopes of making a fortune. However, below the surface of prosperity are various insidious forces. Certain business associations have an absolute say in the city and are so powerful that they can easily achieve something like imposing a monopoly. Most people in the city live a life that is entirely dependent on business institutions, and they are completely unable to move up in the world. You and Artem are part of the Zhongheng Society, a grassroots organization. They have asked the two of you to head to Jiaming City to change the current situation.
気合が有り余っているのなら、今のうちに復習をしておこう。君のノートにいくつか注意事項を追記した。もう一度おさらいしておくといい。
Seeing how serious he looks as he speaks to you, you can't help but want to tease him a little. You clear your throat and flip open your notebook. I'll review everything from the beginning. Then, look, I've written it all down nice and clearly. I, Shurara, abide by the organization's arrangement for me to partner with Artem to infiltrate the Shenhua Association of Jiaming City and build an intelligence network. The Shenhua Business Association is the most influential organization in Jiaming City. To get into the inner circle, the two of you had to prepare suitable false identities. Artem, you are the new director of the Business Association, and I am your family member.
ああ、正確には君は私の配偶者、新婚の妻という設定だ。私たちはパートナーとして行動し、共に運河というコードネームを使用する。
As he says this, Artem's gaze seems to falter for a moment. He looks awkwardly at the dashboard where there is an open locket containing your wedding photo. In the slightly grayish photo, you are holding a bouquet of flowers, holding Artem's arm in a slightly reserved manner. The image of you is looking directly at the camera, as though meeting the real Artem's gaze. Artem's face visibly reddens, then he smiles dryly.
君はまだ若い。こういうことは少し早いような気もするし、それなりのリスクも本当にいいんだな。
Of course, we'll be watching each other's back in different roles. That was what we agreed on. Besides, our identities aren't all fake. We may not be married, but we're family. And I really want to live up to the ideals you spoke of. A few years ago, when Artem was on a mission, he saved you after tragedy befell your entire family and brought you back to Zhongheng Society. I can't bear to see a person be deprived of everything, and I want to create a society where everyone can choose their future according to their own ability. That seems to be the reason Artem took you in and let you live with him. To repay him for his kindness, also because you agree with his ideals, you repeatedly offered to join the organization and become an intelligence officer like Artem. After a period of hard work and waiting, Arthur finally agreed to be your mentor. Woods. In the forest at dawn, you raise your training gun and point it in a certain direction. Artem, standing beside you, adjusts your posture.
しっかり構えて腕がぶれないようにするんだ。そうだ。そのまま深呼吸を。離すぞ。
His hands gradually move away from your hands holding the gun. You steady your breath, your index finger slowly rubbing against the trigger. A bang is heard, and the target set up in the footfalls. I did pretty well, right?
ああ、想像以上だ。君の上達は私が思っていたよりずっと早い。筋がいいんだろう。
After all, I want to graduate from you as soon as possible and become an independent intelligence officer. Artem pauses for a moment, his gaze softening.
実は、すべての訓練を終えた後も、しばらく私といることになる。君が正式な密偵となる前に、私の監督の下で見習い期間を過ごしてもらうんだ。
A probational period? What do I need to do?
心配する必要はない。私とパートナーを組み、ある任務を無事遂行できればいい。
By mission, Artem was referring to the secret operation to infiltrate the Shenhua Association. Okay, I won't let you down. I'll pass the probational period with flying colors.
ああ、君の能力は信じている。しかしながら、密偵は常に孤独やプレッシャーと向き合うことを余儀なくされる。今回は長期戦の構えで危険と隣り合わせだ。そんな中で私たちを支えるものは理想や能力だけではない。大事なのは覚悟なんだ。
For instance, I've always shared your ideals, and I'm determined to help you achieve that. Since you rescued me, I will definitely. A helpless smile appears on Artem's face as he keeps his eyes on the end of the road where the fog has yet to dissipate. Before you can ask him any more questions, he leaves you with a vague statement.
なんであれ、もうすぐわかる。
Cosmopolitan Hotel. 4 years later, at the Cosmopolitan Hotel in Xiamen City. Another New Year's Eve has come. People from all walks of life gather in the banquet hall, waiting for midnight. You adjust your beaded shawl and walk into the guest room. Artem, who is socializing with the other guests, soon notices you and walks over to greet you.
ネックレスが少しずれているな。私が直そう。
You let out an affectionate sound of agreement and casually pull aside a few stray locks of hair for Artem to loosen the necklace clasp around your neck. You move closer to him, as though to make it easier for him to adjust the necklace, then whisper in his ear. The organization has received the intel. The Special Ops team will arrive at the old fireworks factory in Xiamen City and intercept Shenhua Association's firearms deal. According to Artem's intel, a faction within the Shenhua Association ordered a shipment of weapons disguised as fireworks, and they intend to carry out the deal at midnight on New Year's Eve. This faction has always used force however they like, while claiming it to be all in the name of clearing up moves. If the deal goes through, there will be much more bloodshed in the future. For the past 4 years, you and Artem have been using this method to transmit information to the outside. So far, the two of you have successfully completed all your missions. Artem nods slightly and signals with an outstretched hand for you to hold on to him.
できた。行こうか。
Artem leads you over to the dining table and picks out food and drinks like the other guests, but every step of the way has been carefully planned. Meet with the handler to find out the next mission. That's the goal of tonight's trip. The so-called handler is the intermediary between the intelligence officers in the field and the superiors. To ensure security, intelligence officers only have a single line of communication with their superiors. They can only send messages through the handler and cannot communicate directly. For the past 4 years, you and Artem have been receiving orders from your superior, codename Mr. Bai. However, neither of you has met with him in person. Is he here?
そのようだな。私たちが早く来てしまったのかもしれない。
Artem takes out his pocket watch to look at the time. It's already past the rendezvous time, but the party is still going on peacefully. Artem, I remember that he's seldom ever late. What's going on?
急な用事かもしれない。ここは
Artem's consoling words are forever buried in the sound of a gunshot. The door of the banquet hall bursts open and a group of marksmen rush into the venue like a dog whirlwind. Every one of them is armed to the teeth, their guns pointed at the desk.
全員おとなしくしてろ。指一本でも動かしてみろ。即あの世に送ってやる。
連合の人間か。
You immediately recognize the man who fired the warning shot at the ceiling. He's Boss Lu, the head of the thugs hired by a faction of the association. And he belongs to the same faction that planned the arms deal tonight. As the marksmen are about to drag a terrified guest away, you feel Arthur move beside you.
ここで待っていろ。私が交渉してくる。
As you yank Arthur back, Boss Lu takes a rag from his subordinate and tosses it out for all the guests to see. Suddenly, the whole hall is filled with screams, and people frantically back away, trying to get away from something.
あれは
ここからは誰一人出さねえ。俺たちがあの裏切り者を見つけ出すまでは、神様だろうが仏さんだろうが付き合ってもらうからな。
When the crowd disperses a little, you can see what is in front of him. It's not a rag. It's a waiter's blood station, riddled with bullet holes. The blood has long dried. Cosmopolitan Hotel. The guests stare at each other as they listen to Boss Lu's strife. Not a single soul dares make a sound. Boss Lu is clearly satisfied with this silence and is about to raise his gun again.
連合が裏切り者を追っていると。では、私がそれを知らないのはなぜだ。
誰だ？出てこい！
You quickly turn your head toward Artem. He takes your arm in his and walks through the crowd, looking as though he has merely spotted an old acquaintance.
久しぶりだな。私たちはただ、ここで新年を祝おうとしていたに過ぎない。それをいきなり、裏切り者がどうのと。皆を不必要に緊張させるだけだろう。この状況に説明が欲しい。私と妻だけでなく、連合の上層部も、今日のことに大変な興味を示すだろうからな。
Boss Lu seems displeased by what Artem is implying. You can't help but subconsciously squeeze Artem's arm, thinking quickly about how to deal with the situation. Boss Lu's faction never got along with Artem. It will be difficult for us to get out of this situation. But in order to figure out why they've locked down the venue, a direct confrontation may be the only way at the moment. Maybe I should mediate? Boss Lu, we...
上層部の歴々は今市内にいません。これについちゃ佐京理事が誰より分かってらっしゃるはずですね。
The moment you open your mouth, Boss Blue's voice immediately overpowers you. He glances at you, then sighed heavily at Artem.
お互いついてないですな。左京理事と奥方のお邪魔をするつもりはなかったんですが、誰かが汚ねえ仕事をせにゃならんのです。我々は信頼できるネタのもと、成功会のメンバーを探し取ります。そいつの本名は岩崎隆之。聖火連合の幹部数人とつながってるそうなんですが、今晩はこのホテルにウェイターとして紛れてるとか。
ほう、ウェイターに。
Boss Blue signals for his subordinate to kick the rag shirt over. You look upon its horrible condition, desperately trying to maintain your demeanor. Darius was the handler that you and Artem were supposed to meet tonight. Darius was exposed with the state of his shirt. Could he already be?
野郎、見つけはしたものの逃げられちまいました。とはいえあのざまじゃ、ここから生きて出られんでしょう。まあ、生きてようが死んでようが構やしねえんですがね。とにかく見つけねえと、いろいろと拉致があかんので。にしても、あの岩崎ってのはアホですよ。よりによって、こんなに人のいる場所にのこのこ来るんですから。それとも、連合の誰かと連絡を取り合うために、リスクを冒さざるを得なかったんですかね。左京理事はどう思われます？
On the surface, it seems like Boss Blue is consulting Artem, but you know for a fact. The investigation had already begun. In his eyes, anyone present at the venue cannot be trusted. Certainly not Artem, who is from another faction. Artem looks away from the rag shirt and shakes his head after a moment of silence.
正直なところ、私は理事としてこういった仕事に携わったことがないからな。一つよくわかっていないんだが。
何です？
君たちは岩崎を捕らえ、彼と結託している連合内部の裏切り者を引きずり出したい。そうだろ？連合の上層部が裏切り者の粛清を重視しているのは自明のこととはいえ、誰かが動くのなら許可が必要だ。今日の状況を見る限り、周知が十分だったとは思えないな。
こういうことは不意をついてなんぼでしょうが。連合のことを何よりも案じてらっしゃる左京理事のことだ。よもや裏切り者に目をかけてやったりなんてしませんよね。
もちろん。ただあまりに突然なので、ロージーにも一層の情報共有を願いたいというだけだ。構わないだろう。
そいつは。
Boss Blue sizes Artem up, his murky eyes making it difficult to determine what he is thinking.
せっかくだし、俺も左京理事とゆっくりお話ししたいとこなんですがね。共有できることはもうありません。別にあんたを警戒してるわけじゃありませんよ。ただ仕事は仕事ですから、気を悪くしないでください。おー、マル！手始めに何人か連れてけ！
Boss Blue suddenly turns and bellows towards another part of the hall. The screams of the guests echo throughout the venue, and some even fall to the ground in the struggle. We weren't able to ascertain anything about Darius. Sooner or later, Artem and I will be taken away for questioning. It will be too late if you don't do anything. You force yourself to stop looking at the shirt on the floor and speak decisively. Boss Blue, we are all willing to cooperate with your investigation. But you see, if we leave everyone standing here all night, some people won't be able to handle it.
おう、それで？
Wouldn't it be easier to investigate if you had everyone situated in their rooms? Besides, there are others here who aren't from the association. Surely it's not possible for everyone to be a mole. If there end up being rumors that our people mistreated the citizens, that would be such a pity. You intentionally slow down your wrist at the last spot, and both Blue's face twitches. He is about to say something when he is interrupted by an old man stepping out of the crowd. He bows slightly to you and Artem.
あなたは
旦那様、奥方様、お話し中失礼いたします。私めは当ホテルの支配人でございます。当ホテルは平素より聖火連合様に格別のお引き立てを賜っております。ここはどうか一つ私めにご提案をさせていただけないでしょうか。
私は構わないが、ロジーはどうだ？
The old man is very earnest, which makes it hard for Boss Lu to snap at him, so he curtly acquiesces.
言ってみろ。
皆様がここで一晩お過ごしになられるということでしたら、当ホテルが客室をご提供いたします。その上、建物内の捜索や取り調べも喜んで協力させていただきます。いかがでしょうか。
Will he agree? Boss Lu's gaze glances over the hotel manager and stops on you and Artem. Just when you think he is going to give you and Artem a hard time, he waves his hand dismissively at the hotel manager.
わかったわかった。用意してこい。
Guest room. About half an hour later, you and Artem are placed in the double room. The sound of chaotic footsteps can be heard outside the door, along with the noise of doors being opened and closed. You have no idea what Boss Lu has planned. Artem ignores the chaos outside the door, heading straight over to the bed and fluffing a pillow.
ひとまず休もう。朝になれば家に戻れるかもしれない。
Okay, I'll go get changed. Since it's possible that someone might be listening at the door, the two of you keep up an ordinary conversation. You deliberately throw your coat and handbag on the bed, then walk around the room with Artem searching for any possible listening devices. After making sure that the coast is clear, you sit down next to him on the edge of the bed.
さあ、ネックレスを外そう。今晩のこと、どう思う？
Artem speaks softly and you feel him undoing the necklace clasp, his hands then coming to a stop. Even without saying it, you know that both of you are concerned about the same thing. Something's up. Darius would never make such a critical mistake when it comes to a confidentiality. What's strange is that even his real name was Leak.
うちの組織の誰かが情報を漏らしたと。
It's highly probable. There is one other thing I'm concerned about. Is it true Darius got captured before escaping with Woods, or just as Boss Lu said? After all, when Boss Lu threw that shirt in front of everyone, it was hard not to suspect that he was bluffing.
それで、君はどうするべきだと？
You look at the door, apprehensive that a knock could come at any moment, clenching your fist subconsciously. It looks like we'll be here for a while. We have to accept the interrogation for now and figure out what happened to Darius. Not waiting for Artem to undo your necklace, you spin around and ask. Artem, is there really no way we can leave the hotel as soon as possible? Darius is our handler. If his identity was leaked, it's only a matter of time before we and the other intelligence agents are put in danger. We must notify the org.
今すぐ出るというのは難しいだろう。
He motions for you to follow him to the window and pulls back the curtain. Not only has the hotel entrance been sealed off, but the nearby streets as well. There are also guards placed outside the guest rooms.
ひとまず取り調べを待って、臨機応変に対応しよ 運が良ければ岩崎さんに関する情報も手に入るかもしれない。
There are no clocks in the room to check the time. Outside the guest room, silence gradually returns, and not even a whimper can be heard. In the eerie silence, you hand over your belongings to Artem for a final inspection, as if you are racing against something invisible. Until at last, Artem looks down and examines your gun carefully. His expression seems to soften somewhat.
この銃、使ってどれくらいになる？
4 years, ever since you taught me how to shoot.
もうそんなに経つか。君は覚えているか？ 4 年前、私が丸一日車を運転し、君とこの亀石に来た日のことを。
Autumn's eyes shift from your pistol to you. This kind of small talk seems out of place in the current situation, but Artem was the one who brought it up. You smile and willingly follow along. Of course I remember. You told me all kinds of things along the way and how we had to play our parts well. Back then, I was amused by how naggy Mr. Wing could be once he got into character.
そうだったか。君と一緒にいると、私はいろいろと考えずにはいられないんだ。私は言ったな。密偵の道を長く歩もうとするなら、それなりの覚悟は必要だと。
It's been 4 years, Artem. I still want to help you realize your ideals, and I've been improving my ability to do so.
私の理想か。
Artem mutters to himself.
以前もそう言ってくれたな。君のその気持ちは嬉しいが、私の言わんとすることはやや異なる。理想も技術も、私は君に教えることができる。しかし君自身が特別な状況下で自ら鍛えなければいけないこともあるんだ。
You mean... The New Year's Eve lights outside move slowly along the outline of Artem's figure, his face blurred by the black backlights.
私たちは亀石に潜伏して長いが、ほとんどは水面下での行動だった。今日のような衝突に関わったのは皆無と言っていい。連絡員の生死は不明。組織とも連絡が取れない今。君のパートナー、指導役、そして夫として、私はこれからの行動に責任を取る必要がある。だから今のうちに、君の考えをもっと確かめておきたい。
After making that puzzling statement, Artem hands the gun back to you.
もうしまっていい。一通り確認したが、手入れは申し分ないだろ
う。Yeah, what did you mean when you said you wanted to understand my thoughts? You can't help but look at Artem, but he falls silent. In the dim light, your gun reflects the colorful, flickering lights as it sits in the palm of his hand. It seems like a strange, unfathomable invitation. But his expression is as soft as ever. You hesitate and reach for your gun. The moment you take hold of the gun, Artem suddenly grabs the barrel. An irresistible force pulls you upward, and soon the barrel of your gun presses hard against a soft spot.
う。いいか。これが覚悟だ。乾燥、装填、射撃。どれも私が手取り足取り教えた技術だな。君はいつも私が思う以上にうまくこなしてみせた。もし今私を撃てと言ったら、君はその通りにできるか？
The gun you are both holding trembles slightly, as if it is alive. It feels like your senses can stretch along its metallic surface until they connect with Artem. But you know it's not the real him. As if you want to break the illusion, you look up and caress Artem's hair while speaking softly. Artem, are you testing me?
これはシミュレーションだ。 君も見たように、ロージーは私を信用していない。万が一何か感づかれてしまったら、二人とも無事では帰れないだろう。そうなった時、局面を打開する最速最善の一手が、何かわかるか？
What? As you say that, you feel the barrel of the gun moving down slightly to Artem's chest. Just as the muzzle of the gun is about to slide toward his waistcoat button, he suddenly raises it with force and grimly breaks the indescribable silence between the two of you.
互いを裏切ることだ。敵を混乱させ、時間を稼ぐ。危険が迫った時、私が裏切れと命令したら、君は従ってくれるか？たとえ理解できない命令であっても、君は理性を保ち、最初の理想を堅持できるか？私は、それを確かめたい。
In the face of your silence, Artem doesn't push the question. He is not so much giving you time to think as he is waiting for a desired answer. And the more you stand up against him, the more you realize something. No matter what happens, you never want to say anything to him that you don't mean. Is there no other way? The first thing an intelligence officer should do is to avoid risk, not imagine what to do in a dangerous situation. I have the ability and the cognizance you're talking about to ensure we get out of this together. So if something goes wrong, I hope you'll give me the chance to do things my way. For a moment, Artem's left hand tightens its hold. But just as you tense up your body, Artem relaxes all of a sudden, turning back into the Artem that you know.
わかった。確かに君らしい答えだ。もちろん、その権利を君に与える。心配ばかりしていると思うだろうが、初めて会った時から君には素質があると分かっていたんだ。それこそ、神に祝福されているかのようにな。
Artem, even as partners posing as husband and wife, the distance between the two of you in this moment is too close. Enveloped in Artem's presence, you feel a strange sensation. It is as though the sound of his heartbeat is conveyed through the barrel of the gun, and it seems faster than what would be normal. Before you can react, a knock on the door interrupts you. Classroom. You and Artem move over to the door, and Artem nods at you. A calm and unaffected expression returns to his face as he opens the door. The hotel manager and boss Lou stand outside the door. The hotel manager bows slightly to you and Artem before speaking.
夜分遅くに失礼いたします。少しよろしいでしょうか。
The reason they are here is obvious. Not waiting for the hotel manager to finish, Artem nods.
話を聞きたい、だろう？行こう。
Hotel suite. The hotel manager escorts you to another suite and then leaves without a word. Due to the unexpected situation tonight, this room has been temporarily converted to Boss Lou's stronghold.
適当にかけてください。あまり時間は取らせません。
どうも。それで、君は何が知りたい？私たちで力になれるのなら。
Boss Lou waves his hand and doesn't sit down.
まあまあ、そう先を急がんでください。お二人に来ていただいたのは、一つ詫びを入れたいと思ったからですよ。
Apologize?
ええ。さっきはよその人間がいたんで言えませんでしたがね。俺たちはすでに岩崎を生け捕りにしてるんです。
Darius has been caught? But at least he's alive. You look at Boss Lou quietly, thinking about how to steer the topic in the desired direction as quickly as possible.
佐京理事、 奥方、俺という人間はどうにも粗骨者でして、余裕がなくなるとつい不義理をやっちまうんです。先だってはみっともなく怒鳴り散らかして誠を申し訳ない。どうか左京理事、今日の件は何とぞ上の歴々には。
By that, Boss Lu means he doesn't want Artem to inform the higher ups of their forced entry into the hotel tonight. But his behavior now is vastly different from before, and there is something odd about the cajoling look on his face. But we will have to agree if we want to know what happened to Darius. You can't help but look at Artem, who does not remain silent for long. He soon speaks in a conciliatory tone.
それに関しては心配しなくともいい。この場で約束しよう。今夜のことを上層部には報告しない。互いに理解し合えている限りはな。
それはもちろんですとも。さすがは左京理事だ。お話がわかる。
An expression of relief immediately appears on Boss Lu's face, and Artem smiles in response.
それはそうと、岩崎という人間は興味深い。彼は一体何者だ？
ただのアホなネズミですよ。それも手負いのね。兄弟たちがすぐ見つけました。
Is Boss Lu telling the truth? If so, Darius is likely held up in the hotel somewhere.
どうしました奥方。何か気になることでも。
Your thoughts are suddenly interrupted by Boss Lu and Artem staring at you. No, You are searching for the right words to say when you spot Artem nodding at you. Now's a critical moment to ask about Darius, even without the signal you knew as much. So you frown, pretending to be troubled by something difficult to say. I don't know if I should say anything. I've always been friendly with the wives of the higher-ups. In a previous gathering, I heard them talking about the Zhengheng society.
ほう？何か耳寄りな情報でも。
They said that the members of the Zhengheng society are extremely cunning. Not only are they good at forging identities, but they are incredibly elusive. But this Darius got caught so easily. I may be overthinking it, but there's something else going on.
とおっしゃいますと。
なるほど。妻の言いたいことは分かった。連合の不利益になるような企みがまだ隠されている可能性がある。警戒すべきということだ。
企みですか。まあ確かに前科のある連中ですからね。
Boss Lu ponders your words and slowly falls into deep thought.
上層部が市内にいないとはいえ、彼らが重要な情報を見逃すことを望まないのは言うまでもないだろう。そこでだ。私たちでもう一度岩崎のことを徹底的に調べてみないか？
私たちで？左京理事、それはどういう？
Artem takes a thoughtful look at Boss Lu.
互いに理解し合えている限り、今日のことは上に報告しないと言った。ただ、相互理解というのはいくつかの前提に基づいている。ちょうどいい機会だ。わだかまりを解いて、連合の未来のために共闘する時だと思うが。それに、裏切り者が目と鼻の先にいるというのに、理事の私が微動だにしないというわけにもいくまい。上にいい格好をしておきたいのは、君も同じだろ
Time crawls as Boss Lu maintains his silence. The unbearable weight causes you to involuntarily dig your fingers into the sofa armrest.
確かにおっしゃる通りですね。
Boss Lu looks out the window. Several cars are parked outside, all waiting for his instruction. He looks at them for a while longer before closing the curtains quickly. The resolute businesslike look returns to his face.
とりあえず部下に奥方をご自宅まで送らせましょう。左京理事は本当に俺とこの件を片付けていただけるんですね。
もちろんだ。
This gives Artem a chance to meet with Darius. I'll find a way to inform the organization after I leave the hotel. Boss Lu motions for you to leave, followed by a quick sprint to the door to open it for you.
なんとも実りの多い夜でしたね。ま、これからもっと忙しくなるわけですが。そうでしょ
Just when you think Boss Lu is going to turn the door handle, the lock is turned in the other direction. When Boss Lu turns to face you both completely, there is a gun in his hand.
何卒引き続きご協力をお願いしますよ。
Boss Lu waves his gun several times, and the muzzle points back and forth between you and Artem. You fall silent, but your body automatically responded by reaching for the gun in your back. Artem, however, seems to ignore the gun in front of him as he adjusts his position on the sofa.
これはどういうつもりだ？
回りくどいのはやめにしました。正直に言うと、前から連合の幹部には裏切り者がいると思ってたんです。そういうわけで今晩は同じやり方ですでに何人かおしゃべりに招待させてもらいましたよ。
私たちを疑っていたというだけで大騒ぎしてホテルを封鎖し、破れたシャツで一芝居打ったわけか。
そうです。人はああやって萎縮させとくのが一番手っ取り早いんでね。あなた方より先にお招きした方々もそれはもうぶるっちまって自分じゃないって弁明するのがやっとでした。にもかかわらずお二人は冷静そのものだ。全くご立派なことです。
何が言いたい？
一緒に来てもらいましょうか。お伺いしたいことがまだ随分ありますからね。
お伺いしたい。ふん。
Artem seems to ponder the meaning behind Boss Lu's statements and finally just laughs.
さっきのやりとりだけで私たちを裏切り者と断定できたと言っていて、自分でも無理があると思わないか？あまりに飛躍が過ぎるようだと、こちらも余計な勘繰りをせざるを得ない。裏切り者の粛清を名目にしてこそいるが、その実、自分たちにとって都合の悪い人間をありもしない罪で消しているだけ。確か、そんな噂があったな。
Hearing Artem's accusation, Boss Lu only sneers.
どう思うとそちらの勝手ですがね。何を言われたところでこっちの考えは変わらねえんですから。
What does he mean? He's not looking for the moons. Boss Lu reveals an ugly smile. He takes a few slow steps towards you and Artem as if admiring his prey caught in a trap.
お二人が裏切り者だろうとなかろうと、争いごとの絶えない世の中ですからね。あんたたちを片付ける理由なんて5万とある。何せ俺たちは歩いてる道が違うんですから。
その通りだ。君がその主観的な憶測を続ける限り、私たちの道は交わらない。
まだ白を切るんですかい？人間どうやっても隠しきれない差がってもんがあるんです。あのパーティー会場で俺たちに逆らおうってやつはいませんでした。あんたらを除いてね。俺たちのやり方に賛同するわけでも、他の臆病者のように従順なわけでもない。厄介な手合いだとよーくわかりましたよ。だから考えたんです。裏切り者のついでにあんたたちのことも解決しちまうのが ここは最善手なんじゃないかとね。
Boslu walks in front of Artem. The barrel of the gun, like a beast ready to pounce, slams against Artem's forehead, pushing it back. Although Boslu might be doing this to get you to give in, you promised Artem that you would find a way to protect both of you. All your training so far, wasn't it meant for this moment? Please, stop! As you let out that scream, tears overflow from your eyes. You make sure to sob loudly, someone who has never been in this type of situation before. Artem, can't you, for me, for us, can't you just confess everything?
すべて
I bet you thought you hid it well, but I knew you. In a sense, Artem was right. The quickest way to resolve the situation is to blame each other. But you wouldn't really give him up. This is just a smokescreen to get Boslu to waver and to buy some time for the two of you.
どういうことだはっきり言え話にならんいいから涙を拭け
Boslu grows anxious and starts shaking your shoulders. Stealing tears, you reach into your handbag for a handkerchief. But at the last second, you firmly grasp the handle of the gun and slam it into Boslu's neck. After a thud, he falls unconscious on the carpet. You quickly search his body only to find some weapons, nothing related to Darius.
君は
Don't come over here. Check on the situation outside. Artem moves to the door when he stops abruptly. The sound of knocking makes the hairs on your neck stand up. The only people who would knock at this moment are Boslu's men.
誰だ
No answer, but from the crevice under the door, there appears to be only one person. Artem steadies his breath and opens the door slowly.
今出る
The door is shoved open with a whoosh, and before you can see what is happening, Artem had already grabbed the person at the door and yanked them inside. In the struggle, the person's head falls off, which causes Artem to take a step back in surprise.
岩崎さん
Hotel suite. You lock the door quickly as Artem helps Darius off the ground. He is dressed as one of Boslu's men with no obvious signs of a gunshot wound.
岩崎さん怪我をして捕まったのではそれにどうしてこんな格好を
怪我？何のことだ？パーティー会場であんたたちと会うつもりだったがロジーの部下に封鎖されていた。当初の計画はもう無理だと思った俺は一旦変装して彼らに紛れ接触の機会を伺うことにしたんだ。連中に俺の存在はバレてるが今のところ狙われてはいない。
Boslu said he captured you. Was it just a cover?
みたいだな。俺よりも俺と繋がっている連合内部の人間がよっぽど気になるらしい。あんたたちがバレるのも時間の問題だろうから脱出を手助けすべく残ったってわけだ。
しかし岩崎さん存在が露見しているなら先に脱出して組織に報告してもよかったはずだ。
あんたたちを放っていけるわけないだろう。これで万が一雲下の正体までバレたら組織にとって大きな損失になる。とにかく詳しいことはまた後だ。早くここから。
After a strange thud, you watch as Darius falls to the ground.
伏せろ
Artem pushes you to the ground, and the smell of blood mixed with the hotel's fragrance rushes up your nose. The instincts you've trained over the past 4 years kick in as you and Artem both scramble up, raising your guns at the same time. At this point, the door to the balcony had been opened and the hotel manager walks in.
そう興奮するでない。君たちまで傷つけるつもりはないんだ。
Did he fire the gun? You immediately recognize the model of the gun. Even the silencer is a top of the line and extremely difficult to acquire.
岩崎についてきて正解だった。ようやく見つけたよ。運河は君たちのどちらかだ。そうだね。
Cloud Break. A code name that you and Artem poured countless hours into maintaining is now easily revealed by a hotel manager. You stare at the person before you, unable to ascertain whether the emotion boiling up inside you is shock or anger.
運河が自ら名乗り出て私と車に乗ってくれればここの誰も死なずに済む。
Who are you?
私たちはもう4年来の知り合いなんだがね。言い方を変えようか。白さんというコードネームに聞き覚えは？
Mr. Pai? This guy is our superior? You inadvertently look at Darius. The organization stipulates that intelligence officers and their superiors communicate with each other only through an intermediary known as the handler. Only he has met Mr. Bai. And now Darius' expression sees it all. He glares at the old man in front of him, barely able to contain his pain.
裏切り者め。忠告しておこう。争いと対立は激化の一途をたどり、亀石はもはや崩壊寸前だ。これは人間が生まれながらにして持つ呪いなのだろうね。利を求める我々の本能ある限り決してなくならない呪い。それが分かっていてなお影に潜み続けることにどれだけ意味がある。私のように新しい生き方を見つけた方がいいよ。生き残れなければ未来もないのだから。
聞こえはいいが、それが裏切りであることに変わりはない。それで、運河を手土産に新しい組織にくら替えしようというわけか。
Mr. Bai's mouth won't confirm or deny anything.
組織の規定により私でも運河の個人情報を知る権限はない。だが岩崎は違う。少し細工をして利益を欲する、あるいは何かしら目的のある人間を動かせば手がかりをたどって会いたい人間に会うことはさほど難しくないのだ。
そろばんを弾くのがお上手なようだ。しかし運河が素直についていくと本気で思っているわけではないだろ
う。まさか。だからもう一つ手を打っておいた。ロジーには聖公会が今夜の武器取引に介入しようとしていることもリークさせてもらった。彼の信頼を勝ち取る一方で運河を説得するいい材料にもなるからね。ロジーたちはどうするかな。取引そのものを中止するだろうか。あるいは逆手にとって我々の仲間を一網打尽にしてしまうかな。
Artem's breathing becomes noticeable faster, but he soon calms down as his gaze darkens.
裏切り者であるあなたを今すぐ排除することもできるんだぞ。
まあまあ、そう焦らないでくれ。取引まではまだ時間がある。それに私はここから一番早く出られる方法も 取引をやめさせる方法も知っている。もちろん運河と引き換えだがね。
この後に及んで誰がそんなことを信じると言うんだ。
Mr. Bai takes out a ring of keys from his pocket, shaking them at you and Artem.
この中に私の車の鍵がある。電報の送受信ができるよう改造された車だ。開花の駐車場に停めている。駐車場は従業員専用で、入り口には警備員。私が同行していなければ騒ぎになるだろうな。私を片付けて脱出する選択肢もあるだろう。当然それだけ時間がかかる上、全員が無事逃げられるとも限らない。私はただ運河が欲しいだけだ。こんなタイミングで嘘をついても仕方ないだろう。それに運河は誠実な人間だという評判だ。仲間が無意味に死ぬことを良しとはしまい。さて彼もしくは彼女はどんな選択をするかな。
At least one person must leave the hotel as soon as possible to notify the organization. Whether pretending to cooperate with Mr. Bai or breaking out on your own, it is now time to decide. Artem has yet to respond to Mr. Bai. The weight in this oppressive silence is too excruciating to bear. Mr. Bai is right about one thing. Artem would choose to shoulder everything instead of watching his companions die.
わかった。そちらの提案だが。
And not long ago, you promised him that you'd find a way for both of you to escape. As much as I like to say that I'm Cloudbreak, you wouldn't believe me. But either way, take me with you. I guarantee you won't lose out on anything. Before Artem can say anything, you stand up and raise both your hands to face Mr. Bai. I have to offer myself as bait to give Artem, the more experienced one, a chance to escape.
確かに君は運河には見えないね。
Do you think I'm in the mood to lie?
用心しすぎるということはないからね。それに私には君を疑うだけの理由がある。わかるかね。私が運河を選んだのはその利用価値だけではない。もしかしたら運河自身も組織に何か隠し事をしていて、彼もしくは彼女にとってはこのまま私と一緒に来た方が都合がいいということさえあり得るかもしれない。
Hiding something?
そうだ。4年もの間ミス一つせず、それでいて都市の至るところから情報を集めてくることができる。それを可能にしているのは何か。もしかするとそれは独自の情報網なのかもしれない。あるいは運河とは一人ではないのかもしれない。複数の人材を育成し、同一のコードネームで活動させているのかもしれない。噂だがね。とはいえ君にそういったことができるようには見えない。
You merely laugh at Mr. Bai's baseless speculation. Speculate however you want. If you really want to know how capable Cloudbreak really is, take me with you and you'll find out. With that, you walk over to Mr. Bai.
まあ確かに時間は待ってくれないからね。それに騙し騙されを繰り返していたら、この先何が起こるのか誰一人として制御できないのだから。
話はまだ終わっていない。
Artem. However, just as you're about to reach Mr. Bai, Artem suddenly speaks. You look back to see him slowly lowering his gun, his shoulders relaxing. It's almost as if he has made an irreversible decision. He leans on the back of the sofa with one hand and pushes back the tousled hair on his forehead.
あなたの言う通りだ。これ以上嘘を重ねたところで、事態を悪化させるだけだろう。運河は私一人だけだ。あなたの言う噂については、この後ゆっくり説明させてくれ。
What are you? You are about to speak when a burst of laughter from Mr. Bai interrupts you.
これは仲間割れかな。誰も真実を話さず互いをかばい合う。とはいえ噂は一つだけ正しかったようだ。運河は本当に連れ合いだったのだね。かつて組織に欠員が出た時、私は岩崎に補充のため勧誘を許したのだ。ただし慎重を期して一人分の枠でな。
Upon saying this, Mr. Bai looks meaningfully at you and Artem.
にもかかわらず、左京理事と奥方の組み合わせはどういうわけかな。
What does he mean? Didn't Artem discover me by accident and refer me to the organization? What are you guys talking about?
彼の話に耳を貸すな。私が説明する。
Explain what? You saved me. Isn't it what happened? Artem doesn't respond immediately. Despite you're the one he's talking to, it almost seems like he is being interrogated. He looks to be expending enormous effort to suppress any emotion. It isn't the first time he's made this expression. In the past, you two had another encounter. It was winter too. Artem burst through the wooden door into the quiet backyard.
私はこちらを調べる。ターゲットはおそらく。どういうことだ？君は。
He is about to rush toward you as you lie on the ground, but he suddenly covers his nose and mouth. The disgusting smell that permeates the pool is evidence enough of a fierce battle. Artem forces himself not to check the other person lying on the ground first. You would later learn that that man was his mission objective. He was one of the thugs who killed your family, who lost his life when you were trying to defend yourself. I heard someone entering the house and arguing, and gunshots. Everyone was dead. I was next, so I hid, and I tried to think of something. Still confused, you cling firmly to the gun you snatched from the thug. You mutter those broken words to Artem without even realizing that you are still sitting in a pool of cold blood in the dead of winter.
これは、君が彼を。銃は初めて使ったのか？怪我は？それに。
Is he shocked by your behavior? But if it's just surprise, why does he look so sad?
左京、ターゲットを見つけたか？
Another person comes running. He looks around and soon understands the situation.
この子を連れて行くつもりか？まあ、彼女に素質があるなら、組織を説得できるかもしれないが。
しかし、彼女自身は。
Are you guys talking about me? Are you guys going to take me away? Artem interrupts you suddenly and turns to you. In the years since, he has praised you many times for your talent, as though you had been blessed. But there was one thing that he was never able to see. This talent can lead a person down a very clear path from which there is only one way forward. You didn't know anything about that back then. You just waited.
ああ。この場所の一切から君を遠ざけてやれる。
You waited as the man slowly knelt before you on one knee with a tenderness that seemed out of place amidst the filth.
君さえ覚悟を決めるのなら。
Hotel suite. Little by little, the truth comes to you. You shake your head slowly, not wanting to believe it to be true. You mean you didn't actually report my name to the organization? I've been on a probational period this whole time.
規則は任務から誰一人連れ帰ることを許していなかった。君の状況の特殊性も加味して推薦には10項を要した。君を密偵にすべきかどうかの判断はひとまず加盟市での任務を終わらせてからのつもりだったんだ。
Hearing Artem's explanation, you can only chuckle. Careful consideration, just what would need 4 whole years of consideration.
それには複雑な要因が絡んでいて、私は。
The gun trembles uncontrollably in your hand. More memories related to Artem flit through your mind, almost too many to bear. How complicated could they be? All my effort over the years, was it insignificant to you?
君の努力をきちんと見てきた。だからこそ憂慮すべきことは多かった。私のようになりたい。私の理想を実現したい。ことあるごとに君が口にするのはすべて私のことだ。だが、君が本当にこの道を選ぶなら、私のためだというだけで危険を冒させるわけにはいかない。私は君が。
If I what? What are you talking about?
一体何が。あんたたち。
At this point, Boslu starts twisting around the ground before suddenly opening his eyes.
裏切り者め、今すぐ。
Before Boslu can get up, he stops moving after a dull sound. He gradually lowers his head as a crimson pallor spreads rapidly across his chest.
用済みの人間には黙っていてもらおう。こちらはまだ交渉の最中なのでね。
Boslu lays still on the ground, and Mr. Bai points the gun back at you and Artem.
とにもかくにも、こちらのお嬢さんが組織の一員ではなく、単なる一市民であることに間違いはないようだね。君に任務を遂行する義務はないし、理想や大義などとも無縁の身だ。君はただ世の中というものにもてあそばれ巻き込まれたに過ぎないんだよ。
It's not like that.
とはいえ今は私と一緒に来てもらうしかないね。
In the days you lived with Artem, you always believed that the future he spoke of would come true. A world without life and death situations brought on by man-made disasters, a world where people wouldn't be forced to make difficult choices to survive the chaos. Those who are capable will be able to hold the future in their own hands. You strongly agreed with everything he spoke of, but were you only moved by his ideals, or was there another reason as well?
しっかり構えて腕がぶれないようにするんだ。そうだ。そのまま深呼吸を。話すぞ。
You will make him look at you with new eyes, and then one day you will be worthy to stand beside him.
本当にいいんだな。
Of course, we'll be watching each other's back in different roles. That was the deal. Besides, our identities aren't all fake. We may not be married, but we're family. And I really want to live up to the ideals you mentioned. Is that all?
危険が迫った時、私が裏切れと命令したら、君は従ってくれるか？ たとえ理解できない命令であっても、君は理性を保ち、最初の理想を堅持できるか。私はそれを確かめたい。
You don't want to abandon Artem because feelings that should have been known but were overlooked because of the various realities of your situation run through you like electricity. They are almost enough to overwhelm you. But under no circumstances can you communicate those thoughts. You can only stand here and accept them. At the same time, a loud bell rings through the room, signaling that midnight is fast approaching.
もういい。
Artem suddenly gives you a look. For a moment, you thought he would explain it to you carefully, as he always does. The next second, you are pushed to the ground. You struggle to look behind you and see that it was Darius who had rushed over.
すまない。
When the momentary pain subsides, you realize that your gun has been taken away. Before you can retrieve it, you instinctively look up. Artem! Artem had restrained Mr. Bite and retreated to the balcony. The white curtains behind him dancing in the night wind seems to open their arms, inviting him to a wild feast from which he cannot leave.
私はここに残る。
No, come back! Artem doesn't budge an inch, no matter how much Mr. Bite struggles. The light from outside the balcony lights up his face and his eyes. His gaze, which used to shine and drift whenever it fell upon the fake wedding photo, is now as sharp as a blade.
なんとも素晴らしい筋書きだ。音に聞こえた連合の裏切り者と、その情緒が揃って現れたら、下の人々はどんな反応をするだろうな。
He is offering himself to ensure a future for you, because he believes you will be motivated by your feelings to take the race on his behalf. But maybe that was his plan? He may have decided that after listening to your answers in the guest room. You are forced to watch as he takes the ring of keys from Mr. Pike's pocket and throws it to you.
どれが車の鍵かはわからない。君たちは先に車庫へ向かってくれ。君たちなら警備はわけないだろう。手遅れになる前に情報を仲間たちに届けられる。早く行け。今すぐここを出て花火工場にいる仲間たちに連絡を取るんだ。
No, I haven't.
私にはもう君に命令する権利はない。だが、もし君がまだ私を指導教官だと、君の家族だと思ってくれているなら、行くんだ。振り返ってはならない。いや、振り返るな。共に暮らしてきた私たちを待つ結末が、個人的な感情に飲まれると定められたものなら、私は、君を生かすことを選ぶ。
Darius begins to pull you back. You reach forward with your hand in vain, grasping toward Artem's face. Let me go, I promise.
急げ！
Your voice is lost in the wind, but is there really no other way?
しかしながら、密偵は常に孤独やプレッシャーと向き合うことを余儀なくされる。今回は長期戦の構えで危険と隣り合わせだ。そんな中で私たちを支えるものは理想や能力だけではない。大事なのは覚悟なんだ。
My cognizance. You used to think that the so-called cognizance was identifying with Artem's ideal and working toward them. But without that selfishness connected to Artem, is there still a part of you that is truly unwavering? And if so, would you be willing to do whatever it takes to achieve it? You stop struggling and let your arms fall to the side. You've already made a decision, haven't you? You don't need to hold me back anymore. I understand. You seem to give up all resistance and mumble like a robot. And the moment that Darius lets go of his grip, you forcefully break away. Each work. Before you are subdued again, you snatch back the gun that was pointed at Artem and Mr. Bai, locked and loaded.
一体何を。
We're not done talking yet. Artem, you asked me what my cognizance is, and now I can answer your question. You take a deep breath. Just saying that means you've made a decision. There's no turning back now. Do I not have the right to live up to those ideals and beliefs just because I'm not an intelligence officer? We've been playing a married couple for 4 years, and I've seen firsthand the sacrifices intelligence officers have to make and the dangers they face. But all of this just makes me want to change things more.
分かっている。君の考えもきちんと分かって。
No, you don't understand anything. You raise your voice sharply. In all these years, you and Arthur have rarely ever had any confrontations. A sense of relief washed over you. Those unspeakable thoughts can finally come pouring out. You accept whatever ending may come. You know, Artem, even if I cast aside all my own feelings, I would still make the same decisions. Your ideals have already become a part of me, and everything I do is my own volition. In light of the situation, I want you to release Mr. Bai and let me stay behind. The two paths before you are clear. One is to return to normal life, and the other is to officially enter the field. The organization cannot lose crop break, and it is impossible to let him perish. The only option is for you to stay behind to prevent even greater losses.
理想君も社長も愚かだな。実に愚かだ。
Perhaps realizing that his scheme wouldn't work, Mr. Bai burst into a terrible fit of laughter. With Artem focused on Chu, he seizes the moment to elbow Artem and make his escape. Artem! You clench your fists and aim the gun at Mr. Bai's head, but he is struggling so hard with Artem that if your aim is a little off...
撃て！私に構うな！
Darius had sprinted over to Artem and Mr. Bai before anyone could react. He expends the rest of his strength to push Artem towards you. As you watch on, dumbfounded, he grabs Mr. Bai by the neck and backs up toward the balcony, pressing a gun to the other's temple.
あんたたちの背中を押してやろう。俺はどうせこいつのおかげで脱出できても遠くへは行けない。ここまで来たんだ。最後の最後であんたたちの足を引っ張るのはごめんだぜ。
離せ！私の仲間がこの騒ぎに気づいたら君たちは
遅かれ早かれ気づかれる。そうだろう。
Just as Mr. Bai said, there is a faint commotion in the hotel courtyard below the balcony. Perhaps at this very moment, someone is looking up in confusion.
岩崎さん、まさか。
俺がこいつと心中すると思ったか？バカ言え。実際のとこ一番残るべきなのは俺だ。元から指名手配の身だし、敵の注意を引くにはもってこいだろう。あんたたちがここを出られたら、俺もなんとか脱出してみせるよ。
The white curtains on both sides of the balcony shake violently several times, covering his sweaty face for a time. The noise downstairs becomes clearer, and Darius is breathing heavily in pain.
また外でな。
気をつけてくれ。
Artem, you guys. Without waiting for you to stop him, Artem pulls you to his side and heads out the door. But how could Darius buy you and Artem time to escape? The people downstairs might have seen him already, unless... Wait, Darius! Too late. The moment Artem yanks on your arm, you hear a dull thud behind you. Is that the sound the human body makes when it hits concrete? It looked like something had fallen. When you turn around, all you see is a gun on the carpet. The balcony is empty, almost as if no one had been there. What happens next fits together like oddly contoured fragments in your mind. The time Darius brought you and Artem wasn't much, and the two of you still have to fight on your way to the garage. In the midst of intense gunfire, Artem pushes you into Mr. Bai's car and sits in the driver's seat himself.
しっかり捕まるんだ。
With a deafening bang, the car crashes through the garage door and out into the night. Inside the car, the fireworks factory is off in the distance, eerily quiet like a dead zone in a busy city. Artem steps on the car's heart, but the pursuing car are so close that they are almost parallel with the two of you. You shout at them out of the window, but soon you hear empty clicks. No more bullets.
連中のことはもういい。これで花火工場へ向けて合図を送ってくれ。まだ5発残っている。足りるはずだ。
You look down at the gun Artem threw on your lap. There's a specific set of communication signals within the organization that can be used by firing a gun at a certain rhythm, but this only works if the people from your organization are still waiting to ambush the fireworks factory.
急げ！手遅れになるぞ！
Forced to ignore the pursuers, you grit your teeth and raise your gun. The 5 rounds are exhausted quickly, but there is no response. You clutch the gun, praying. A flare pierces the night sky and rises slowly above the factory. Looking at its familiar color, your eyes well up with tears. Someone is lighting up the night, no doubt to guide you guys. It's a signal from the organization. They responded to us. They're still alive. Artem! 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 You turn your head, seeing Artem cough quietly as though trying to suppress something. Gritting his teeth, he sends the steering wheel slamming into the speeding car beside you. It spins out of control into a side street. Afterward, he tries desperately to get your car back on the road. Unfortunately, there is a sudden crash followed by the strange sound of glass breaking. Near the firework factory, you climb out of the passenger seat, sprawling onto the cool background. There isn't a single place on your body that doesn't hurt, and your vision is getting blurry. Artem, where are you?
ここだ。私は問題ない。それより、聞いてみろ。
The sound of fireworks clashes with gunfire, and you have to focus to hear Artem's low voice.
彼らが交戦している。仲間が私たちを援護してくれているんだ。もう大丈夫だ。誰かがこちらに来ているのが見えた。
But you... The reason why the car flipped over was because Artem. You forced yourself not to recall Artem's expression at that time and struggled to sit up.
君は怪我をしている。あまり動くんじゃない。
No! Artem's voice is close by. You have to find him. Thinking about this, all the pain in your body seems to fade. The moment you exert your strength, the New Year's Eve fireworks burst again, suddenly illuminating everything around you. There he is. You are shocked at how close Artem is to you, breathing softly and quickly. Artem, you... He's losing blood. The sound of fireworks in your ears becomes muffled, and you vaguely realize that you are still inching your way toward Artem bit by bit. Artem shakes his head slightly and gives you a gentle smile.
どうやら時間のようだ。
What? He glances in the direction of the fireworks.
街中の皆が新年を祝っている。少なくとも彼らにとって今夜は安らかで幸せな夜だ。今年プレゼントが欲しいと言ったな。きちんと包んで家に隠しておいた。それからカードも書いたんだ。
Don't speak. Artem will go home as soon as the night is over, right? Of course, you already know what Artem wrote. Since living with him, the two of you have stayed up on New Year's to write each other's blessings. According to him, any wishes made at the beginning of the new year will come true sooner or later. The two of you would always wish the best for each other and to be together in the years to come. Even now, you still believe that you will spend many more years with Artem. You will grow old with him and look back upon your wedding photos together. We'll go home, Artem. I'll take you back.
帰るか。帰っても君はまだ私を叱るだろうか。何せ私は君に隠し事をしていたんだからな。
It seems he's wanted to get that off his chest for a long time. He carefully observes your reaction like a man ready to accept blame. How could I be mad at you? It's not like you don't know that You did. Why did he take you away and keep by his side? Just what was he thinking? Artem coughs softly. The hand covering his wound seems to slide down slightly.
覚えているか。誰もが己の力で未来を選べる社会を作りたい。私は君にそう言った。君は優秀だからきっといい密偵になると分かっていた。加えて私自身の理想と個人的な感情のために君をそばに残した。だがその先に待つ未来はあまりに過酷だ。故に君がこの極めて困難な道を選ぶ前に選択する権利と考える機会を与えたかった。
To choose. On the first day here in Jiamin City, Artem had repeatedly asked you if you had given it enough thought. Back then, you were still nervous and excited about your first mission. You thought he was just worried. I, Shara, abide by the organization's arrangement for me to partner with Artem and infiltrate and building an intelligence network in the Shanghua Business Association of Xiamen City. The words you had said to tease him now echo in your mind. Your lips quiver as you fight to not let a single sob escape. If only you could go back to that time.
こうすることでのみ覚悟を持って下した決断が何をもたらすのか、そのすべてを君に見せてやれる。 この道が自分に合わないと思ったとしても、いつでも抜けることはできる。その上で、君が私と同じ道を歩もうと決めたのなら、君はれっきとした運家なんだ。
Is this why you kept asking me about cognizance?
ああ。だが、もう再び問うことはない。君はもう選択した。そうだろ。
You think back to the scene when you raised your gun into a confrontation with Artem, sniffing. Actually, Artem, there are so many things you want to say to him, but your consciousness is quickly fading away. You can't help but feel a sense of urgency, not to embellish the unspoken words, but to let them flow out freely. You don't need to wait that long. From the moment you knelt in front of me, despite the blood seeping into your clothes, I had a feeling. Are you hallucinating? The young man in your memory is gradually merging with the man before you. With the last bit of consciousness, you finally reach him. As he had done with you, you ignore the blood and slowly put your hand over his jacket. Everything about him makes you feel attached. If you really were his wife, you would also be sharing body heat with him like this, wouldn't you? Did you know, Artem? I've always had a feeling. There's no one more sincere than you in the whole world. If you can continue forward with this person, maybe one day in the future, you will reach that ideal world.
誠実さか。君が思うような誠実さが私にあれば、こんな。
Artem's voice becomes distorted and you hear him cough again. But this time, instead of trying to say something, he pulls you into his arms with surprising strength. His embrace is wet yet warm, like a net that's slowly opening but desperately trying to tighten. You can't help but feel a happiness nearing desperation as you snuggle against Artem's chest and look up at his trembling lips. Ah!
どうかしたのか？
The moment your lips touch, you awake with a jolt. You blink as your eyes try to adjust to the sunlight. This is... The fireworks factory is nowhere to be seen, instead replaced by a thick morning fog outside the window. Artem is sitting beside you in the driver's seat, unharmed. His hands are on the steering wheel as he gives you a look of concern.
寝ていたか？さっきの話だが。
Staring at his clean face, your response is stuck in your throat, unable to come out. The sound of the engine rings in your ear like some sort of underwater echo. Although the sun has risen completely, the fog is still present outside the car. It feels nothing like a normal world, or perhaps this is your mind hallucinating after falling unconscious. Is this Artem from 4 years ago? He was the one who drove all day and night to bring you to Yami City for the mission. Then,
どうして泣いているんだ？
the car pulls slowly to the curb. Artem leans over and wipes your tears. The touch of his fingers feels fleeting and illusory like a burst of mist dissipating against your face with every caress.
具合でも悪いのか？市内へ入る前にどこかで一休みしてもいい。
No, I'm fine. It's nothing to do with my health. But how could you tell him? You already know about his selfishness and secrets. Even if you know what is going to happen in 4 years, you wouldn't change any of the choices you made. You try to wipe the tears from your face, but Autumn's face only becomes more blurry. Is this the end of the fantasy? You shake your head at Artem, as if you don't want to shatter the dream. It's okay, I'm fine. What were we talking about?
大したことじゃないんだが、加盟士に着いたら、私たちは本当に夫婦になる。君は私の妻になるし、私は君の夫になるんだ。君はすぐに順応できると思うか？
That's what you're worried about? I'm not too sure though. How about we give it a try now? Of course, that's just a cover. Once you're working, there's no way that you'll blow your cover. The reason why Artem brought it up must be some selfish motive. My dearest, you try calling out to Artem. Not surprisingly, his face turns red quickly, and he answers you earnestly.
ああ、
My dearest, my love, my dearest, my love. But what exactly is your relationship? Companions? Partners? Lovers? All you know is that even if the world collapses the next moment, you will still be in this little car right by his side. You know that he will drive onward, and you know that you will still choose to be with him. After whispering Artem's name several more times, you lean against his shoulder like a real wife. Keep driving, Artem. I'm going to take a nap.
わかった。市内に入ったら起こそう。
Artem reaches for the blanket in the back seat of the car and covers you with it. Before long, the seat trembles beneath you and the view begins to disappear. The blanket is soaked with a mixture of sunlight and his scent. You snuggle closer and close your eyes gently. Come, sit down. The occasional vacation is great, given how long it's been since we've had time off. Arthur, where did you get this thing? I've ever only seen such professional equipment in photo studios before. Ah, that was on your mind? While recovering with you, I suddenly became aware of some problems, so I had it purchased. Some problems? Anything I can help you with? After spending so much time together, we don't have a single photo of us. That can't go on. I chose the most portable camera on the market to take pictures whenever I wanted. I'm curious about the kind of photos you take. By the way, have you tried using this camera? Not yet. After all, I must first ask my model's permission, right? Your model? Oh, are you going to take photos of me? Let me get ready first. Well, rather than take photos of you gazing at the camera, I want to photograph you completely relaxed. Whether it's when you were holding back your laughter after receiving the old bouquet I tied up, or when you were walking down the street just now to window shop, those moments are precious to me. You're always talking about me. I was gonna ask when you wanted to take another picture together. What? Why are you thinking about that? Last time, we need to take fake wedding photos for the mission, so this time we should take photos of what we want. Since we're both on vacation, why don't we walk around and test out that camera of yours? Alright, as you wish. Maybe I should make a small locket and place your favorite photo within. That way, no matter where we go, the people and things we cherish will not disappear, just as we will always be together.